Praise the Lord. Here it is, another Wednesday night, and News and Views is going to be here in just a moment. But before, I'd just like to remind each and every one of you that we've got a wonderful program tonight, and we're going to see what these several things have in common. You be the judge. See if you can find out before we come back. A New York City terror ring, Rivka Berry, honor killing, Dutch football chants at a soccer game, Ave Maria, and a terrorist resort and spa plan foiled in Oregon. You tell me if you can find out the common denominator when we come back in just one moment. Praise the name of Jesus, and welcome to News and Views. We're so glad you've tuned in tonight, and I'm so glad to be able to introduce a very distinguished guest we have all the way from Tehran, Iran tonight, a very precious, esteemed dignitary from President Ahmadinejad to the Consulate of Iran in Dearborn, Michigan. Yes, sir, Ambassador Hammoudi, welcome from Tehran, Iran.
You're crazy. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here with you, Brother Joseph.
We thank God for you, and especially that very nice shirt. I keep telling Brother Hammoudi that it looks like one of these Iranian guys, very distinguished.
I can't tell you where I got it from, but thank you very much.
Well, praise God. Maybe we'll have an Iranian Muslim call in tonight to compliment your style and to tell us what he thinks, his views on our news.
Hallelujah.
And back to the news. Let's just discuss a few things that took place. First off, Brother Hammoudi, can you imagine that there is another terrorist plot that has been uncovered by the Federal Bureau of Investigation in the United States of America? And who do you think did it? Do you think that maybe the Jews did it?
The Hare Krishnas?
Well, now that's a good guess. I hadn't thought of that. It's not the Jews.
No.
Well, do you think perhaps the Christians did it? Because now we don't want to stereotype. We don't want to use the M word at this point.
I don't think so.
Maybe Jehovah's Witness.
I doubt it.
Buddhists?
That's unlikely.
Well, would you believe it if I told you that the Federal Bureau of Investigation has uncovered a terrorist plot in New York City that's perpetrated by Muslims?
You got to be kidding me.
Well, I don't want to be accused of stereotyping, but let's go to the news.
Okay.
The FBI unit set for more anti-terror raids in Queens, fears of Madrid-style subway bombing, sources say. We see that Monday morning in New York City, United States of America, the FBI raided several apartment buildings. Actually, we have a picture of one of the apartment building complexes in New York City that was raided, and I think they'll show that in just a moment. And we find that these apartments were raided because the FBI had reason to believe. There's one of the apartments right there in Queens, New York, one of the apartments that was raided on Monday, and the raids are expected to continue. It says here in the news, the elite FBI hostage rescue team is poised to make more anti-terror raids in Queens, sources told the Daily News. The discovery of cell phones and backpacks raised fears that terrorists were planning a Madrid-style subway bombing plot, sources said. Fearful of a Madrid-style subway train bombing, authorities are poised to make more raids to seize bomb-making materials at locations in Queens, sources said Wednesday. And it goes on to say that there was a fear that a plot was imminent. Now, they didn't have actual, they didn't find explosives, Brother Hamoudi. They wanted to find explosives, but in another story, we find that the imam of the local mosque, where most of the Muslims who were detained and who were interrogated, the imam of their mosque tipped off some of the guys that the FBI was looking for them. And so the FBI feels like the New York Police Department made a mistake in having a high-profile canvassing of the neighborhoods. In any event, whether there were bombs or not, the FBI continues to investigate. It says here, Robert Mueller, an FBI director, speaking at a Senate hearing Wednesday, said the plot posed no imminent danger. New Yorkers are well benefited from the work of the NYPD and Commissioner Ray Kelly. And he goes on to say Najibullah Zazi, he's supposed to be the ringleader of this supposed terror plot. Najibullah, I think we have a picture of him, nice bearded man. It should be coming up in just a moment. Najibullah Zazi, there he is, in Colorado, triggered a rash of Queens raids Mondays. He was identified through email, wiretaps, and confidential informant as part of the plot, the source said. Zazi, or Najibullah, 25 years old, told the news he had nothing to do with any terrorist activity. He says, and I quote, "No, of course I'm not a terrorist," the 25-year-old Afghan national said Tuesday. A source said Zazi tipped while visiting Manhattan last weekend that he was under surveillance, flied back to suburban Denver. That tip was by his own imam. Even as Zazi of Aurora, Colorado, close to Denver, professed his innocence, counterterrorism agents eyed him as part of the first suspected Al-Qaeda cell they've uncovered in the U.S. since 9/11. We found Lebanese and all sorts of other Saudis and Egyptians, Muslims who have been committing terror acts in the United States or tried to, but here is actually Afghan nationals now that they believe are part of an Al-Qaeda cell. And as a matter of fact, while Najibullah says that he has never had anything to do with terrorism and he's not a terrorist, another report states that he was actually involved in an Al-Qaeda jihadist training camp in Pakistan. So I think we're going to see some more facts and forthcoming in the next few days about this terrorist plot that was uncovered. As we've said in previous programs, why is it that the Muslims are always involved in these terrorist plots? Of course, I'm sure someone can call in and bring up 1 in 100 that isn't, but here in the United States of America, time and time again, Muslims are in the news. As I've said before, if you want this show to end, all I ask you to do, Muslims, is to tell your Muslim friends not to try to blow anything up, not to try to commit a honor killing or try to kill the apostate or run and chase London police officers or do whatever else. If you'll tell them to stop all of that, I promise, if there's no news, we'll end the show. But it just so happens that they continue on and on again. And so we want Muslim callers. If there's any Muslims out here, is this what true Islam is about? Day after day after day, we see Islam, fruits of Islam manifesting. Not peaceful fruits, mind you, but violent fruits. Fruits that are of murder and death and terrorism and violence and killing and hatred. Is that the true fruits of Islam? It seems to be the true fruits. Is that the true tree? You keep telling us that Islam is peaceful. If that's right, call in and tell us, why is it that day after day after day, Islam, Muslims are on the front page trying to kill other people? Well, let's go on to some more news. We reported on Rifka Berry's story, I believe a week or two ago, and now it seems that the judge in a Florida court has judged that there is no credible proof that ex-Muslim teen Rifka Berry is in danger. Very interesting judgment. I will read just some of this article. A Florida Department of Law Enforcement investigation has found no credible evidence that Christian convert Rifka Berry is endangered by her Muslim parents. She fled in July in fear of her life. There's a picture of Rifka as she's being consoled by a caseworker down in Florida after the judgment to return to her father, who she says threatened to kill her because she has left Islam and become a Christian. As we all know, as Muslims should know, as Christians who watch this program should know by now, that apostasy is punishable by death. Not only in the Quran, but the Hadith, all four schools of Islamic jurisprudence also say that apostasy should be punished by death. And yet, the judge in Florida sees no credible proof that Rifka Berry is in danger of returning to her parents, who are in a very orthodox Muslim mosque in Ohio. Let's read on some of this very interesting article with a former member of that mosque, Ergin Canner, who chimes in with his own look at the situation. Let's continue. Supporters of the Ohio teen, however, called the report a travesty of justice, and one Islam expert criticized the report as political correctness that can endanger the girl's life. It goes on to say that we see here Brian Williams, 21-year-old friend of Rifka, contacted the Florida Department of Law Enforcement on August 28, noting that he filed a report with the Columbus, Ohio Police Department that she had told him about her father's threat and mother finding Christian materials in July. Williams also told the Florida Department of Law Enforcement he baptized Rifka in June, and he drove Rifka to the bus station when she was fleeing from her parents. Concerning honor killings for apostasy from Islam, Mohammed Berry, now Mohammed Berry is Rifka's father. Now, what do you think he's going to say about this, brother?
Yeah,
he's going to say, is he going to say, yeah, that's exactly what I intended to do?
He's going to say, absolutely not. There is no such thing as an honor killing.
How is it that you're so perceptive? How did you know? That's exactly what he said. He said, there's no such thing as an honor killing. Yeah. Well, we're going to look at that in just a moment. Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Well, it just so happens that Mohammed Berry may think that there's no such thing as an honor killing. And as a matter of fact, CARE, the Council of American Islamic Relations, which is an indicted group with alleged ties to Hamas and Hezbollah that continues in the United States posing as a civil rights group, really, for Muslims, they were present at the questioning of Mohammed Berry and his wife. We don't know why they were present, but they were present nevertheless. And it says that the CARE attorney, Rahman Iqbal, who characterized honor killings as cultural and tribal, not related directly to Islamic religious practice. You know, friends, one of the first ways that I knew Islam was not the truth, when I began to double check on my spiritual life, was that I found that the Muslims who truly know about Islam, about the Quran, about the Hadith, about Muhammad and the way he lived and the way he taught, they deliberately, intentionally, and without remorse use deception and lies to cover up their religion. Christianity does not. We have nothing to cover